we are at a humongous milestone, episode 100. I thought for this milestone, I'm going to bring my favorite person in the world on today's episode, my wife, Christina Houser. How are we doing today?
I'm doing great, Jeremy. Thank you for having me.
So what comes to mind when you think about milestones and growth?
I don't know if any of your listeners have ever heard of him, but Dan Martell, he wrote a book that's
For the spouses of advisors, what's something that you would give them some type of encouragement that might be going through any struggles?
Honestly, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm an expert on navigating marriage and travel and all that stuff. But what we are working on personally is once we start having more kids, yes, you're confined to the house and you start kind of thinking about what's going on outside. And then I don't want to say like you're almost trapped. You feel like you're trapped.
What's success for you?
Like to be able to have your kids go out into the world and just be good people. That's really all you can ask for.
Systems work. People fail. Welcome to InsureMark's Advisor Mentorship Podcast with Vice President Jeremy Houser.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Advisor Mentorship Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Houser, and we are at a humongous milestone, episode 100. It took us over 4 years to accomplish this, so I thought for this milestone, I'm going to bring my favorite person in the world on today's episode, my wife, Christina Houser. How are we doing today?
I'm doing great, Jeremy. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. So actually, for those of you that don't already know, she actually was on one of the more recent episodes, episode 12, way back in the day. Do you remember what we talked about on that episode? Well,
we announced Olivia. Well, we didn't know it was a girl yet, but we announced our second pregnancy.
Yeah. That was actually an idea way back when. So we ended up having our first child before the podcast started. And we announced our pregnancy for our second on episode 12. And then you had a pretty cool idea that you ended up putting us in Florida. And we actually cut a cake after the episode aired.
That's right.
That's right.
Open it up and it was pink.
Yeah. And then we had our little girl. And wow, time has changed. So we got a lot that's happened over the last 3.5 years since that episode. So to you, what do you think is what's probably been the biggest change the last 3.5 years?
Well, our house is definitely a lot more full. We've added 2 children since then. We have Patrick, Olivia, and Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
We've added a few more people in the house. Our house is a lot more busy, a lot more bodies running through the house, staff-wise. But we'll get into that, I think.
Yeah.
A little later this episode.
Yeah, we actually, about a year ago or so, we also moved. So we had to sell the home, bought the home. I ended up having a week of travel whenever that was happening. So a lot has gone on for that. But I'm excited to talk to you a little bit. So what do you think? So in the last 3.5 years, out of curiosity, what really stands out to you for like our family? So taking us back from episode 12 to today, anything besides more kids?
I mean, you pretty much touched on it. The moving and then just we're a lot busier these days. Kids have moved schools and Patrick's now in first grade. Just a lot of moving pieces.
And so, and obviously the last several years now, so you had to adjust to like motherhood. So motherhood and also staying at home. So no longer being in the workforce, but by choice. So I think for people that can maybe resonate, a lot of the advisors that listen to this, they have wives too that actually stay at home. So what were some of the challenges here over the last couple of years for just getting used to your new normal?
I think the biggest challenge has been being able to prioritize myself. A lot of moms don't want to say that they need to be selfish with their time. And I've had to figure out, I'm still figuring it out. I don't have it all figured out yet, but I have to figure out how to put myself first. It's kind of like the airplane, put your mask on before helping others. I have a tendency of putting everyone else's mask on and then putting mine on if I'm still alive. But yeah, I mean, it's just still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, it's not, I mean, every year, every day, it's always something new, especially now juggling 3 kids on top of, I know I travel a lot. Actually, I traveled last week. And one of the things that some of not just advisors, but advisor development consultants, similar to my role at other organizations, one of the things that they always, what stands out to me is the fact that you actually kind of know what I do. So what do I do in your opinion? What do I do?
Well, you wear a lot of hats. I would say over the years, you've turned into less of a salesman and more of like a coach. You work with financial advisors all across the country. You also work with insurance carriers, and you're kind of like I don't know if the word liaison in between the two is the right term for it, but you work with both ends, and yeah, you just help your advisors as best as you can. I would say you could even be their counselor, their friend, everything. If they call you and they have something to talk about, you're there.
Well, not counselor to all of them, but yes. Yeah. And why it's interesting to me is because like whenever I'll go out and I'll travel and I'll meet other ADCs across the country, and the fact that usually like their spouse or significant other, they don't really know what they do, or they have like no engagement of like what, you travel a lot, like what are you doing? But it always like fascinates me because the way that you've actually take on almost like a want to like other centeredness of wanting to have the opportunity to actually help the business, but also 2 minds are better than one. So that's why whenever you've done numerous things. You'll go online and you'll go find people on LinkedIn. You'll send those people to me saying, hey, you might want to check out this advisor because he seems to be an RIA. Actually, do you know what an RIA is?
Registered investment advisor.
I love that. Yeah. And so what do they do? Do you know?
I couldn't tell you what they do.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Well, I pushed the envelope. Yeah. So, but the thing that fascinates me though, too, is like, it's about being efficient. And so the fact that you're willing to want to actually like help out and be behind the scenes, but also you still provide so much more value. The things not just in the office, but also at home, by being able to leverage a lot of you're putting a lot of time into the children, a lot of time into the house. So it gives me the opportunity to put a little more into work, but still try to manage both of it. So it's always been very admiring of you that you actually do that.
Well, I think of it more as I'm with you almost every day. I mean, if you're not traveling, we're together. I think I know you at times better than you know yourself. And if I see certain things that maybe it's lacking in some way, I think, oh, well, I can help you here by doing X or whatever. And sometimes it's a good idea, sometimes it's not, but I hope, and I'm glad to hear that it adds value.
Help your clients renovate, reinforce, and take pride in their financial home. North American has some exciting news. They've just launched a powerful new resource designed to help make client conversations easier, more engaging, and more impactful. Discover the blueprint for organizing, protecting, and upgrading your financial life so you can build a lasting legacy and approach retirement with confidence. It's called the North American Financial Home Makeover Campaign. It includes a magazine, a microsite, and an online client prospect assessment. Pretty cool. These resources will help you spot retirement gaps and opportunities, build more long-lasting trust, and start retirement conversations that really matter with prospects and clients. To access this amazing resource, reach out to our team or go to www.insuremarkamp.com/J Houser and click on Learn More.
What's an example?
Well, I'm sure some of your listeners have received them at some point. Your little From the Desk of Jeremy Houser.
Mm-hmm.
That was a Christina Houser idea.
It's a very good idea.
Just little things like that.
Yeah. And also like, oh man, what was my mind's slipping. Yes. That was a great idea, by the way. So, the ones that actually receive it. So I'll send out From the Desk of Jeremy Houser whenever it's a first piece of business for like a new advisor itself. So just like a personal touch. That's the thing, right? You're doing the same thing over and over and over, and just you only can think one way as a person. So when you have somebody else feeding you information and just thinking what's in the best interest of like, hey, this would be a cool idea, it's good. Two minds are better than one, essentially. And actually, hey, for those that are watching us on Spotify or YouTube, hey, you actually laminated these for our podcast. These are pretty cool little questions. So some of the things that we're going to chat about here, we're going to go a little back and forth today. So I thought it'd be good to have you on, chat a little bit, and most importantly for you though. So what comes to mind when you think about milestones and growth?
Well, I think in order to have growth and achieve milestones, you need to have a plan set in place first. And it would be difficult to just achieve something, but without a plan put in place and changing the habits and everything, I know that's one of the things you talk about a lot in your podcast is changing habits. I think that's the biggest thing in having to change your mindset. Yeah.
What's a mindset for you that has probably changed in the last couple of years? From having, let's just say, so since the last time we talked, so from just having Patrick, so then we had a second child, now third child, moved homes. What would like stand out of like a mindset change for you?
I think going back to being able to put myself first, taking care of myself, that's had to be the biggest one. I know personally my mood changes when I start feeling like mom's needs are on the back burner, and it's just kind of like I'm running on E, and with travels and everyone else's, if Patrick was having his sports schedule, which was how many practices? It was like 2 or 3 practices a week and then a game or 2 games. I don't know. That's how
4 days a week.
Yeah, it was
5. Ridiculous. But yes.
Yeah, I'd have to say just having to put myself first.
Mm-hmm. And so for putting yourself first though, like that's not easy because for some it is. It's actually really easy for me, unfortunately, as you can probably say. But for others, there's some people that it's tough to do because, especially as mom, you're juggling a lot more lives that depend on you, and then you still have time to make sure I'm taken care of too. And I mean, it sounds terrible, but I obviously care about you. It seems like you juggle a lot more hats than I do. So how do you find time to actually care about yourself?
I don't know if any of your listeners have ever heard of him, but Dan Martell, he wrote a book that said, Buy Back Your Time. I listened to it on the audio, whatever. And, what he said it's applicable not just to the workforce or whatever. And I was able to apply it to my life where if I could choose to spend my time doing laundry or spend it with my kids, what would I rather do? I'd rather spend it with my kids. Mm. So in that whole mindset change that I had to go through, I came across the idea of a house manager, and we have a fantastic house manager. Her name is Carolina.
Yep.
She has completely changed my life. She has given me my time back. Hmm. I know she's helped you with your stuff too.
Yeah. And I mean, that's important though. So you hit a capacity just as a person. So it could be business owner. It can be just individualized, just as an individual. you hit a capacity to where you start valuing your time more. So therefore, what are things that would be considered below the line, or things that you're like, am I really more efficient? Should I focus my time here, or should I focus it there?
Well, I think I, along with a lot of other moms, hold the mental load, mental labor of the household, where I have to remember, oh, the kids need toothpaste. Jeremy needs aftershave. I need shampoo. The dog needs more food. All those things are running through my head on top of what I need to get done for the day. And over time, it just it all blends together, and things tend to fall through the cracks when that happens. And with Carolina, she's able, I mean,
but it's not.
It sounds silly saying it out loud, but she helps me keep track of my inventory in the house. And she will go, if she goes to Costco, she'll get me a pack of paper towels and she'll bring it back, and we just reimburse her at the end of the week. But little things like that, it's helped me be able to, in some sense, buy back my time.
Selling the Ibexus FIA Plus and Wealth Defender FIAs just got even easier. They have increased street comp by 1% for clients aged 71 and up, putting more in your pocket while helping retirees grow and protect their wealth. Plus, Ibexus has raised participation rates so you can offer even more value and upside potential. It's a win-win for your clients and your business. For more information, go to www.insuremarkamp.com/jhouser and click on Learn More. Don't miss this opportunity to boost your earnings and deliver stronger solutions.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when you say laundry, that's so kids' laundry, my laundry. You're talking about
laundry.
Kids have a lot of laundry. We're talking the sheets on the bed, making the bed. There's dishes. There's, 14 hours worth of stuff. I know that. Yeah. that's what we pay. But yeah, so it's interesting because also, like, as business owners, so usually what happens is whenever they are the person who's talking to new people and they're attracting new customers in, like, we always use kind of the doctor analysis. Like, you can't be the one that's the specialist that's going to give advice on what the financial plan should be, but also you're the same person following up with that individual and then tracking them down, you're chasing them. And then it just gets to a point where you have to just figure out, like, what's your time best served as. It's probably seeing the next person, not necessarily all the things in between where that can be delegated somewhere else. So you're doing that personally on the, just like the family side.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been good. So actually, so she's been great. So, but you didn't just find her out of, like, willy-nilly. You ended up, we had to go through some stuff.
Yeah, it was a lot of digging through, like, Facebook mom groups, the nanny search groups, all that stuff. I came across one girl, and I had never heard of house management. She actually interviewed with us. I think you were in the interview. She was really nice. It didn't work out, but that set me in a new trajectory of, okay, I don't need a nanny to help me because I don't want someone else raising my kids. But I was able to switch the search for a house manager.
But how do you even, like, look for that? Because obviously you were doing this for like 8 months or so, and every time I chat with, like, the advisors I work with or somebody in the industry, they're just like, that sounds amazing. Because it is. It's like a unicorn. So how do you even, like, find that?
I mean, you just have to do keyword searches, like laundry, organization. You just type all that in, and then hopefully someone's put a post out there, and that's what kind of job they're looking for. It's kind of like how I do with like searching for your advisors. Mm-hmm. I've come to learn, like, these are the types of advisors that you would work with. So if I'm doing some kind of a search on LinkedIn or Google, I'll type in these things. And then
what do you type in?
What do I type in? I type in independent, annuity, life insurance, or I'll start off by insurance and financial services.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. No, so, but for, I think hiring, so it didn't just start off, right? So yes, we have Carolina now, but I think we went through at least 2 or 3 people before you actually decided that, like, okay, this is more of what I want, not necessarily just the best person. It wasn't just that because that person does X, this is what we're going to form our stuff to.
Right. And it also has a lot to do with personality. We did have someone working with us for a while, and I was newly postpartum. She was a very nice lady, but she had a tendency of bringing me negative news stories every day. And it got to the point where it was just too much.
Like what?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh, okay.
It's just, I don't need to know what happens in the news every day when I'm trying to raise 3 little children. But, it didn't work out. Wish her well. Made room for Carolina. But I do have a question for you. What have been your biggest mind shift changes since you first started the podcast?
The podcast?
Mm-hmm.
I would say, so habits definitely. So prioritizing time with, obviously, the family. So prioritizing family time. So it's like a circle here. If you separate that circle into like 4 quadrants, you got like family, you got work, you got occupation, you got spiritual. So if we broke that down, I would say, into quadrants, it's figuring out that most of my time was maybe more diving into just all work, or then all of a sudden throughout the couple days, it'd be diving into health, or diving into something to where, like, there's got to be a balance. So I would say probably the biggest thing since episode 1 to today is just being a little more efficient on time. Because we don't have a lot of that. So therefore we don't know, like, when our time, we just never know, like, how much time we actually have to do certain things. So I would say time has probably been the biggest, like, mindset shift in figuring out how to delegate certain things off from my list that might be able to go to other people, similar to what you did. I'd say that's different. And then just prioritizing the family aspect more. So literally not probably hanging out with friends as much, although I hang out with friends, but I don't hang out with like it's not my every weekend thing. Schedules just don't align. So it's kind of like you start to be put in a spot where, depending on your schedule, whoever fits your schedule, like, that's who you're carving out time for. And also, when you do give people time to actually hang out with them, it's got to be, like, meaningful, I'd say. So just starting to realize, like, relationship wise, you gotta, if there's no value really being provided, I'm taking time away from you guys. So therefore, is that friendship really still worth keeping up with?
Well, I think also a lot has to do with, like, their personal values. Do they align with the values that we want our kids to be around?
Yeah.
Not just friends wise, but other aspects too.
No, I agree. Because I mean, especially it, like, kind of hit me whenever Olivia was born. For some reason, I don't know. I think I've talked about this on a couple other episodes, but whenever the announcement, so we were about to have our second child, and it was a girl, like, something just is different, for at least for me as a man, whenever it was going to be a little girl, where the fact of, from announcement to holding her to taking her home to where it was like, I just got to be really protective of this, like, individual. Patrick, I love him to death, but, like, for her, it's like, I got to become a better guy because she's going to marry a guy one day. So I got to be set the standard of, like, hey, if she's looking for a husband one day, like, if I'm not a good person that she could actually look up to, then I don't want her standards to be at a certain spot. But you probably saw changes.
I did. I've told you before, you're completely different Jeremy than the one before I think we even started having kids. I think you've grown into a more mature and I would even go as far as like nurturing.
Yeah.
You're more thoughtful.
Thoughtful. Yeah. Nurturing. I still struggle with that.
But while we're on the topic of families, what would you say to young families or couples who are trying to build a life and business at the same time?
Younger families, especially for like, I'd say millennials, especially, like, you gotta listen. You gotta listen to your partner. So I would say it's very important as you're building not just business, but also a family. If you're listening to your partner and making sure that they're voicing their opinions, usually your partner's pretty accurate, pretty right. They have a good thumb on the pulse. So listening to your partner, but also on the business side too, like nobody's going to protect you more than your spouse. So if like a business decision, you have to intertwine the two. It seems like once I started letting you more into like what we're doing here within Simplicity and SureMark, but also working with advisors, it just seemed like there was so many little bitty detailed things that I'm just not capable to comprehend that you would just like give me ideas of. So the fact of like having to separate the two, it doesn't make sense. It might not make sense until you actually fully invest and like do it and actually work with your partner. So I would say the advice would be marry the right person first and foremost. I would say don't be afraid to have kids, because that's definitely been a huge blessing. You don't realize until you know it, you have an idea, but once you have children and you start having the responsibilities, and especially as a guy, just taking on more responsibilities, it shouldn't make you fear having children, because if anything, it makes you want to become a better person to guide them. So on top of it all, you get the opportunity to actually not just grow your family, but in business too. I don't see any wrongs of blending the two together, because it's done nothing but good things, I would assume, for our lives personally, of like what we've seen. Because I mean, hell, you even see you'll come on our actual trips that we're doing, and you've gotten to know some of the advisors, some of their wives, some of their kids. So, and Patrick, you actually let him come.
This is true. He just went with us on family reunion.
So how was that? You actually traveled with him though?
I did. I traveled back internationally with him, but I was with Steve and Becky Kearns.
Yeah.
I even asked him, I said, did you think 14 years ago or 15 years ago when Jeremy Houser first started that you would ever be traveling internationally with his wife and child? He said, no, I did not.
Are you tired of seeing your clients' renewal rates going down? Maybe your customer started out with a 5% cap, and over the years, it has been cut down to 2%. Sound familiar? Lock in guaranteed rates on Prosperity Life Group's newest FIA, Path Pro Series, an A-excellent company now with a 16% premium bonus with no fee. PLG's Path Pro Series has you covered. You can find Prosperity's perfect renewal rate scorecard and more at www.prosperitylifearc.com. That's prosperitylifearc.com. Probably the best use of, I guess, we didn't have to pay him, did we? No. So Steve is a great person to watch over your kids. It was great. But yeah, so Patrick got to come with us, but like you saw from a different stance. So like we were with all these advisors in Punta Mita. We had, I think, well over 140 people there. Patrick was one of a handful of kids that were actually there. So from conversations with him, or just like seeing it through his eyes, or seeing it from your stance of watching him interact, like what kind of stands out?
Well, he was very happy to be there. You and I have, especially you travel a lot for work, and I don't think he ever really understands what happens when we go on your work trips, because a lot of it, I mean, they're 3-4 days. There's one that we did something else we were gone for how many days? 10 days?
9 or 10. Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of times it's just mommy and daddy are gone, but this time he got to come with us. And I mean, I think he still talks about it, how much he liked going to Mexico. And I think he told you the other day, the thing he missed most about it was talking to your advisor.
Yeah. Hanging out with them at the pool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, so I mean, like to like younger people, especially, or people trying to like grow their business and grow family, the quicker you realize like they shouldn't be separate, I think you will be amazed of how much more you get out of just life in general. At least from my personal experience, that would be my advice: is don't be afraid to have kids, find the right person to get married, and then most importantly, as you're growing your career, like don't isolate from the family, try to bring them in. And then that's where, so was that possible? I mean, probably 5 years ago, we didn't know, like, and thankfully you started looking into hiring somebody here to help us out with within the realms of, I do travel a lot. So like the house manager, or talk a little bit about like, yeah, you had the mindset shift, but like how hard was that to lose control or like to give up control?
Definitely it was really difficult. I know I said something earlier, that I didn't want to hire a nanny because I didn't want someone else raising my child. But, since then I've kind of loosened my control a little bit. We've actually brought on a part-time nanny, which Madeline, I love her. She and Carolina both. I can talk to them for hours.
Yeah.
So they become part of the family. But yeah, it hasn't been easy to let go of control. Yeah.
Why not?
I'm still working on it.
Why not?
Well, it's just how I've always been. I've always thought I can do it better. I can do it myself. I was very self-reliant. Always been that way.
Yeah. I think, and I've seen the growth from you as well, for the giving up some control, and I think for anybody, it's challenging because if you aren't naturally selfish, I mean, you're naturally not selfish. I think you know that about yourself, yeah. Which you're very other-centered, which is why it works amazing. I'm not necessarily selfish, but I could be selfish.
I think we balance each other out.
Yeah. So, but I think for especially the younger people that are trying to do this on their own, just trying to figure out a way to, it's okay to give up a little control, find people, pay money to bring people in to help you with certain things. But most importantly, it's all about like peace of mind. Because I mean, your day to day, you have to enjoy what you're doing day to day. If you're not enjoying it, then like, what are you building?
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with that old saying, like, it takes a village to raise children.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was very true back in the day. I don't know what generation, but back in the day. I don't think it's the same for our generation anymore. A lot of grandparents are still working, or I know my parents, they had me in their 30s. I'm not going to give up their ages, but they're not young grandparents where they have all this energy in the world to take care of all three of our small children.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to come to terms with that and I had to find my village, which is what we did.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, so what does Nay do? So Nay is, you said said the actual name.
Madeline, but
Madeline.
she goes by Nay.
Yeah.
She helped me she comes 2 days a week, sometimes 3 when you're out of, this week she'll be here for 3 weeks, or 3 days. But she helps me just kind of be there for the kids when I need to take a step out and do things for myself. I mean, right now she's at home with the kids,
yep.
Even though it looks like we're at home. But yeah, no, she's been there to kind of be a surrogate me when I can't mentally be there at all times. She's there. And it's not a bad thing. I've had to come to terms with that, or not terms, but I've accepted that asking for help isn't the worst thing.
Unlock new accumulation opportunities with EclipseMark fixed index annuities issued by Standard Insurance Company and available exclusively through Legacy Marketing Group. Offer up to 15% annual penalty-free withdrawals after year 1, plus many rates that are guaranteed not to drop for up to 10 years, a key advantage in today's uncertain rate environment. And for you, earn competitive upfront or trailing commissions. Learn more. Visit www.legacynet.com. EclipseMark is a product of Standard Insurance Company of Portland, Oregon. Licensed in all states except New York. Features and availability may vary by state. This message is for licensed insurance producers only, not for consumers. Legacy Marketing Group is an independent agency not affiliated with Standard Insurance Company.
Yeah. I mean, especially because Harvey's a little over 1 year old. He naps. He still naps. So how tiresome is that I mean, yes, we love our kids, but there's a process for a lot of the listeners. It's been probably a while since they've had children. So the process of every single day staying on schedule, like how important was that for each one of the kids? I know for you were pretty strict on keeping them on schedules. So the fact that they nap, I mean, you're pretty much tied to the house, right?
Correct. Or, I mean, the car naps, they were a lot easier when it was just one child. I could just put Patrick in the car and then just go. I didn't have to worry about the other two. But once we started having more kids, yes, you're confined to the house and you start kind of thinking about what's going on outside. And then it almost, I don't want to say like you're almost trapped. You feel like you're trapped inside your home, but in some ways you kind of are.
I mean, but also, I mean, yeah, you can't like for instance, the day-to-day of you're dropping off. So now we got 3 and sports has just begun. So I can't imagine what that's going to look like fast forward when he's actually doing more, maybe, I don't know. It's up to him when he listens to this, if he actually wants to do competitive sports. But we're eventually going to have 3 kids that possibly could be doing all these different activities. And so,
oh, I know we will.
Yeah. So we're thinking, as you think through that, it's like, it's almost like the systems created I would say almost a system's been created to where we're going to be driven to go different ways, like with kids. So like, you're going to have to go to this one. I'm going to go to this one. And then this person may not go to that game, or, I mean, it's just almost, because I lived it growing up. I saw it firsthand with my family of like one parent would take us here, one parent would take us there. So, I mean, the thought of doing that without having additional help seems like impossible almost.
Yeah. I mean, we lived it a little bit with Patrick's summer ball schedule.
Yeah.
It was just too hot to take Harvey out. And it was the spring. You were one of the assistant coaches. So if I went, I'd have to take Harvey and Olivia by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't.
He wasn't even walking.
And he's a big baby. I don't know if any of your advisors have seen pictures or met Harvey. He's a big baby.
Yeah. Patrick's big. He's big too.
Yeah. He's almost Olivia's. I think he weighs as much as Olivia.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's big.
Yeah. 2 years difference. Yeah. And so I think one of the things about I did want to talk about for delegating was not just letting go of control, but most importantly for you though. So as you are starting to like come to terms of like, okay, so this is becoming who I am. So, being able to have a little more flexibility in what you're doing and so forth, like for moms or the spouses of advisors, what's something that you would give them some type of encouragement that might be going through any struggles of dealing with a husband that is traveling a lot, or dealing with maybe even a younger person who has kids and the dad's traveling a lot?
Honestly, I think the biggest thing, and we still struggle with it. I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm an expert on navigating marriage and travel and all that stuff. But what we are working on personally is communication. I think the more I communicate things with you, the easier it is for you to reciprocate what it is that I need.
What'd you say? Just kidding. Keep going. Sorry, keep going.
Anyways, I lost my train of thought.
Communication.
Yeah, communication. If you just have an open line of communication, I'm pretty sure that's what my advice was at the end of our last episode, is that you just have to work on communicating with one another.
Yeah. And I think and it's tough, like as a guy, as speaking on behalf of guys, I guess, it's tough to want to listen. Or actually, we listen, but it's tough to like let it stick. There's things you say that it makes sense at the time, but then for some reason, a day goes by and it's hard to like remember. And I don't know what that is.
I've heard of a phrase or a term called amnesia.
What? What's that?
Where it's like that men they can't remember what their wives say.
And it's called amnesia.
It's like a silly term that I've heard used out there, but
yeah. Well, I know for certain, there's things that I'm good at, things I'm not good at. So when it's like trying to find something in the fridge, I'm pretty bad at, and you can communicate that to me every single day and it won't matter. I won't be able to find.
What was it today? I reminded you that I had bought travel toothpaste because you've been traveling a lot lately. And I told you it's under your sink. And you said, okay. I said, because I know next week when you're traveling, you're going to say, hey, where did you put that toothpaste?
It's true. It's, yeah. And I mean, there's so many things that obviously you do for our family. And I know as we're probably getting here, I wanted to bring you on, obviously, because episode 100 is a milestone. We officially have 3 digits next to the podcast. What's mainly some of the things that you've seen change with me since episode 100?
Well, you've been running a lot.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that too.
Yeah, just your overall mindset shift to wanting to be a better husband, a better father. In the work realm, you do a lot more. I feel like you're a lot more hands-on with your advisors than you were before. In this sense, like, how do I say this? Like, you're just more, you get to know your advisors a little bit more now than I think you did back in the day. They're more like the way you talk about your advisors and the way that I've interacted with them, they're more your friends and like people you work with.
But why do you think that though? Like I'm generally asking, why, what do you think has changed to like make that? And by the way, for those that don't know, she's a psychology major and she also has her master's in psychology. So
Master's in counseling.
Master's in counseling. Yeah, there you go. I don't listen. So what is the, why is that? So is it because like life has changed or?
Well, I think the trajectory that you're wanting to go on with your career aligns with what a lot of your advisors go through. Yeah.
But how?
How? I mean, there's a lot of different personalities that I can think of right now, but I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, don't say by name because I'll have to hear later about all that. I think, for the most part, and that's been I would say a secret weapon. Obviously, you just being who you are, who I love very, very much. It's a secret weapon in business to be able to like bounce ideas off of somebody and know that I have some terrible ideas sometimes that you right ship you make sure they don't come to the market.
Ampasist was not originally Ampasist.
Emphasis was not. Yeah, that's true. Actually, it would have been really good though. But
if you want to know, just ask him off air.
Yeah, but you shut that down.
I did.
But anyways, so no, I appreciate you. As we're wrapping up, any final words for the audience?
No, but I do want to know what do you view success as now? That would be my final question to you. What success look like to you?
Success. So I'll tell you my answer today. That wasn't years ago. Success to me today is long goal. Having my children want to keep up with me and communicate with me. So even when I'm retired and they're off doing their own lives, just communicating to me. And then me and you will be hopefully enjoying. I mean, I say I want to retire at 45, but
you'll never retire.
But I'll probably be doing something else with, I'll still be doing this, but I'll probably be doing something, throughout my career. But hopefully me and you, success would be we're enjoying whatever you would like to do, wherever you want to go and live. But ideally the kids staying informed, want to keep us involved with their lives too. So I'd say that would be success. And then also for each one of the advisors to continue to hit their goals that's my shorter term goals, is making sure that they're growing their business. What's success for you, since you bounced that to me?
I mean, pretty much similar to you. For a mom, especially stay-at-home mom, I think success would be, actually, I feel like I've already experienced it a few times when we've had people come up and say, you've got great kids. Like, to be able to have your kids go out into the world and just be good people, that's really all you can ask for. Sorry, I'm being a little emotional.
Yeah. No, it is an important thing, and you do a great job.
Thank you.
You do a good job. Well, on that, thank you very much for joining us. Love you. Joining us on this week's episode of the Advisor Mentorship Podcast. Make sure to subscribe on your favorite listening device. Follow us on YouTube at Jeremy Houser AMP, and follow us also on LinkedIn when you get a chance. And as you share this episode with a friend or a colleague, be sure to remember, in a world full of betas, be an alpha.